Greetings, faithful followers. This is your old pal, brother Jack Angry, bringing you another episode of Movie Night Live from the monastery of Mayhem, deep in the bowels of Omaha, Nebraska, along with the Angry Brothers, Omaha, Rama. Again, it's just me, because the girls are all out working. Everybody's doing their different things, and it's old brother Jack holding down the program. But you know, hang in there with us, faithful followers, a while longer. We are going to have the girls back, and some new ones too. I mean, we've had a lot of people asking about parts that are available with the show, so we're going to have definitely some hot new girls and some very nice, lovely new bodies here for your consumption on the show. So with that being said, on with tonight's episode. Now, tonight's episode, we're bringing you a movie called The Head, and it is from 1959. Alright, and this movie stars nobody I've really heard of, but I understand the cast is quite big in Germany. The leading lady of the film is Karen Kernecki, who plays Irene, and the film also stars nobody I ever heard of playing Dr. Ood. And isn't that a coincidence? Because if you're a Doctor Who fan, they have a race of beings called the Ood. They're bald, big eyes, bald heads, and it looks like they got tentacles for mouths, and they walk around with a little ball that they speak through, and you know, that kind of thing. So it's a little different, but not bad. Tonight's movie is called The Head, and I said The Head, not getting head, not how to give head, or anything like that. It's not that kind of a show, people. Although we could use a few more actresses that are proficient in that department around here, but that's something we don't want to go into right now. All right, the film is The Head, and it was made in Germany in 1959. Stars Karen Kernecki, and basically, to give you an idea of what the film is about, it is the story of a scientist who is doing a lot of pioneering work with organ transplants, and he comes upon the idea of how to keep a decapitated dog's head alive for a series of several months. And then his assistant takes that one step further after the scientist has a fatal heart attack. So the assistant, being a good assistant, proceeds to whack off his boss's head and sew it to and keep it alive while he's actually grafting it onto another body that they had laying around, so he can go on. And this apparently works. I mean, you know, with no ill side effects, although it's like, you know, let's just get the right, you know, bodies here. I'd hate to think that they stuck his head onto a woman's body. It's like he wakes up with a set of double D Hooters. I mean, but for a lot of us, you know, that would be almost a blessing from heaven. You know, it's like, work? Fuck work. I'm going to stay here in the house. You know, I'd never leave the house. But, you know, that's just Brother Jack's brand of weirdness. I mean, you know, don't judge me. Don't judge me. Anyway, the story goes on with the assistant falling in love with his hunchback nurse, who is, to be quite honest, kind of a dog. I mean, they could hang a pork chop around this girl's neck and the dogs wouldn't even play with her. She wasn't just ugly, she was fugly, you know, and if you know what fugly means, then you understand the joke. But anyway, the assistant, you know, being in love with this woman, I guess the face wasn't too bad, but the rest of her, you know, forget it, you know, she's a triple bagger at best. He conceives the plan to basically transplant her head on the body of a young, sexy nun, and then live happily ever after. You know, it's like, what he's going to do with her old fucked up body, we don't even know. But anyway, this takes up a vast majority of the movie, the assistant conniving and plotting and planning to get all the parts he needs to basically do this. And the much hilarity ensues. Now this movie also had a lot of similarity to one that was released, I believe, in the mid-50s, I believe like 1955, 1956, The Brain That Wouldn't Die. It's like a classic that we've run here on the Angry Brothers Omaha Rama. I mean, starring, again, nobody I ever really heard of, but you all know it because it has Jan in the pan, basically the head in the little pan of chemicals, and the head is talking and being a general downer, but you know, there's a lot of similarities to that movie. I mean, I don't know if that movie inspired it, but we're going to get on with the film tonight. The Head, I'm sorry, I said The Head, here on the Angry Brothers Omaha Rama from 1959, starring Karen Kornecki. Enjoy.
I'm disappointed in you. I had hoped that in taking your head from your body, maybe the cause of science would be served. That it would change your ideas. That was foolish. I have succeeded in achieving a scientific miracle, but now the experiment is finished. Now I'll let you die.
You may do whatever you like, Dr. Root. I'm beyond all harm now. Poor fool, you're mad. You're completely mad. I don't need a psychiatrist to tell me that.
Be still! Shut up!
Mad, yes, you're mad.
I am not mad! No! No! I am not mad! No, it's not true! No, it's not!
Yes, mad.
No! 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 No!
Well, greetings, faithful followers. Welcome back. What do you think of The Head so far from 1959, starring Karen Kornecki? What do you think? I mean, don't you feel sorry for the doctor? I mean, he's going along doing his little experiments, you know, getting shit done, and then one heart attack later is his noggin's on someone else's body and the rest of him is a worm feast. I mean, that's got to be the definition of having a really fucked up day, let me tell you. You know, Brother Jack's had a few days like that, you know, but usually it just involves a big old chunk getting bitten out of my ass by an irate boss or something like that, you know, or me having to deal with the hack, loser, redheaded fake, coattail rider. Yes, damn COPD anyway, you know, it's like, I think it's high time Brother Jack gave up smoking. But smoking what, I'm not going to say. You know, I gotta have some joy in my life, you know, and that's why I bring you these movies, because it's my one source of joy, and frankly, it keeps me from blowing my own brains out. Getting up and just, boom, you know, that's it, that's all she wrote. Paint the wall with my brains and be done with it. And I know there are probably some of you out there going, yeah, do it, you know. I'm sorry, that's something I could only do once, and frankly, I don't want to make that many of you happy. I don't believe in giving that much joy, so get better luck next time. Now, the film, The Head, was released as part of a double bill in 1963 here in the United States, along with The City of the Dead, that you might remember as Horror Hotel, starring Christopher Lee. Great film. You know, wonderful actor, and how this piece of shit got on the bill with it is anybody's guess. I mean, you know, there must have been somebody must have been doing some major favors. I mean, that had to involve drugs or kinky sex to get that one on the bill. And oddly enough, the title of the working title in Germany was simply Head. And when it was brought over to America, some genius in the marketing department wanted to give it the German name, loosely translated was How to Get Head. And this was promptly, after the distributing company executives had a minor heart attack or two, this was promptly changed to The Head for obvious reasons. I mean, would you want to see that? Would that be a movie that you'd want to see on your theater marquee in your local neighborhood? How to Get Head, you know, from Germany. Yeah, it's like, I mean, guys would flock to the theater only to find out it was a third-rate horror film. I could just hear that, you know, a bunch of guys walking out of the theater. God damn it, we done fucking got gypped. I want my $1.50 back for this matinee. I mean, I didn't even get to see a goddamn Bugs Bunny cartoon. You know, it's like, what the hell kind of shit is this, you know? I was going to try go home, try that on your ma tonight, you know? But so they changed the title of the movie from basically Head or How to Get Head to just The Head. You know, they figured that was probably the safest thing they could do and, you know, not get their asses sued off. But, you know, that was a controversy that was headed off at the pass. The film, you know, like I said, was not so good. The real spice of the thing comes in from knowing what goes on behind the scenes. For example, Karen Carnecki, who played Irene, the leading lady of the film, was noted for doing several rather notorious films in Germany under various maverick directors, and these would be equated to the nudie cutie films that were done by like Russ Meyer and certain others, you know. That were later done in like the late 50s and early 60s, even up to the early 70s here in this country. But they were done under some very maverick German directors. You know, I can't think of any names, but if you're a film student, you obviously know who the hell, you're going to know who the hell I'm talking about. There was a rumor that Murnau may have been had some nebulous connection with this project, or he was consulted, but, you know, turned it down for the sake of saving his own career or maintaining his own career. We never really heard which one. However, before her death in the mid-70s, Karen Carnecki actually was asked about this by several reporters from some of the art movie magazines, and her response would be to smile and simply say no comment. And that pretty much, she took that answer with her to her grave, because right before she died she was asked about it and same response was given. So, you know, I would have loved to have been, I don't know about you faithful followers, but I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during some of that filming. Must have been some pretty crazy stuff, even by today's standards, but we may never really know, because that footage has been lost to time and human stupidity and incompetence. But there was a rumor that Carnecki and the director, Carl Mulder, they had a kind of illicit romantic relationship and affair going on, because Carnecki was married at the time that she did this film to some West German executive, a fairly wealthy family, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, it would have been bad for both of them if the word of the affair had gotten out. The director, being highly upset the way his work was being watered down and diluted by the American censors, hatched a plot with Carnecki to gain access to the distribution facility and switch several copies of the films with the unedited Euro prints. These were the full director's prints that played in European theaters, because the standards at that time were a lot looser than the United States, except in Great Britain, where you had the video nasties and that sort of thing beginning to come out. And the British Censorship Board was noted for being particularly tight-assed about everything. So there's rumors that, you know, some of the prints that made it into American theaters, at least for the initial and early showings of the movie, were actually the full scenes that contained a lot of nudity and a lot of rather salacious scenes that, you know, would have shocked the bejesus out of American audiences at that time, you know. The New York crowd probably would have just said, yeah, you know, woo, tits. you know, but let's face it, them New Yorkers, nothing faces those bozos, you know. Yeah, it's like they survived a terrorist attack, I don't know how many blackouts, and the New York Mets, and nothing phases them, you know. Way to go, guys. Two thumbs, way up from Brother Jack, you know. But anyway, the movie in and of itself is, you know, is what I would define as not a first rate, not a second rate. It's a strong third, you know. If you saw it today in a theater, you probably wouldn't miss the $4 you spent to get in to see it. If you spent anything more than that, you done got screwed. But, you know, $4 matinee price, it's worth the popcorn you bought and the soda to sit there for an hour and a half and watch it. You know, it's like, hey, every movie is not going to be Night of the Living Dead, people. I mean, there's a reason they call them B movies. All right, and this was a grade Z movie, but you know, it has a certain endearing charm, about the same as a boil that needs to be lanced, and it's like a train wreck. We don't want to look at it, but we just can't turn away. It's like, I want to not look, but I can't. I have to watch what happens next. Now, here's a little, you know, we're going to get back to the movie here, The Head, on the Angry Brothers Omaha Shock-a-Rama, and we'll have some more trivia about the movie at the end of the show. So stay tuned. Enjoy.
You've lost the urge to experiment.
Oh, every time you touch me, I go out of my mind. Let me die. Let me die.
Her brain kept alive by experimental science, by a man whose abnormal passions inspired him to try the impossible.
I brought her back. She'll live and I'll get her another body.
Yes, and what of her soul? How can you make of her an experiment of horror?
His mad ambitions and desires threaten every woman possessing an attractive body. Girls whose measurements make them beauty contest participants. Professional figure models such as this. All are prey to his distorted desires.
What's locked behind that door?
Horror. No normal mind can imagine something even more terrible than you.
Horror has its ultimate, and I'm that.
Behind that door is the sum total of Dr. Corden's mistakes.
He intends to kill somebody. To rob them of their body. We've got to stop him.
Well, greetings, faithful followers. Welcome back. What did you think of The Head, starring Karen Carnecki here on Movie Night Live at the Monastery of Mayhem, along with the Angry Brothers Omaha Shock-a-Rama? So what did you think of that movie? Crickets, crickets, crickets. Yeah, I know, it's like the crowd, I put this movie on and the crowd goes mild. Yeah, I get it, people. I was somewhat underwhelmed myself when I watched it, you know. It's like, I mean, I gave it a big WTF. What the fuck? You know, but it was not a bad film in and of itself. You know, the story was reasonably coherent and easy to follow. I mean, you know, it wasn't Alfred Hitchcock doing The Birds, it wasn't Fellini doing Satyricon, or it wasn't Kurosawa doing The Seven Samurai. Okay? There's a reason we don't show those films here on The Angry Brothers, because somebody would sue our asses off if we showed those films. This one, I'm pretty sure we can get away with it, you know? This film, I believe, is in the public domain, but, you know, even if it wasn't, I don't think anybody'd give a rat's ass if we ran it, you know, because frankly, otherwise it's just going to sit on a shelf and rot, basically, and we're trying to prevent that, you know. We're trying to get these films out here into the collective gestalt of our viewers, our friends, and our fans, you know, which is what, you know, we're not fundraisers, people. We're not doing this for any great social purpose. We're doing it because we love bad movies, and, you know, I like girls with little costumes and, frankly, big boobs, and, you know, that's why Brother Jack does this stuff. Sorry, I'm not Albert Schweitzer, people. I'm not doing it because this is going to be any great help to humanity. Hell no. It's like, I'm just trying to keep the genre alive, you know, along with the rest of my buddies at the Horror Host Underground. Such great hosts as Oliver from Oliver's stoner-friendly, twisted movie night bargain basement freak show. I don't know if that's the right title, but it was certainly fucking long enough, Oliver. Thanks! I think I sprained my tongue on that one. Uncle Edward and It Came from the Basement. Our good friend Penny Dreadful with Shilling Shockers. Dr. Destruction in the Crimson Theater. The Bone Jangler. Count Gore. You know... And the list goes on. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of them. You know, and there are new hosts actually coming out almost every day that are wanting to get their, My Gal the Zombie, for instance. Raven from Raven's Rookery. You know, Baron von Porkchop, he's been around for a while, but, you know, he doesn't bug me too much, so I will throw him a shout out. But the other two guys, those other guys he's associated with, fuck them. You know, sorry, it's like, I heard what you said about me on your podcast, and that's for you, and that's for the horse you rode in on, both of you. And you know who you are. But anyway, I digress. Little bit of, like I said, little more interesting trivia about the head. This movie was shot largely in Berlin. Various nightclubs and on sound stages in some of the larger studios in and around Berlin. This movie was judged to be heretical by the Berlin Archdiocese in conjunction with the Vatican. And the local priests, the parish priests in and around Berlin, were advised, nay, ordered by the church to advise their parishioners and their congregations not to go see this film, and under threat of excommunication. So this movie did stir up a lot of controversy in the church, because the idea of transplanting heads from different bodies, and, you know, particularly women's heads from, you know, hunchback women to young, hot, attractive nuns, that kind of, you know, torqued off the church a little bit. And, you know, I don't want to say rightly so, because, you know, just think of what it could have been. You know, you don't like your body, you get a new one. You know, they just, you know, lop your head clean off, stick it on a better body, you know, stitch it up, bill your insurance, and away you go. You know, think about that for a minute. I mean, wouldn't that be great? You know? You know, it's like, whose body would you want? Whose body would you want your head sewed to? Me? I'd hold out for Ron Jeremy. You know. But anyway, that's Brother Jack's little bit of weirdness. But the film actually stirred up a big controversy with the church in Berlin, which only added to the popularity, because once people heard that the Catholic Church didn't like this movie and that it was forbidden under possible excommunication, well, what's the first thing that you all are going to do? You're all going to want to go see that shit, right? Yeah, I know you. You're all a bunch of sickies out there. You want to go see that. If, you know, I could have said Pinocchio was banned by the church and lines would have been around the block, you know, to see that crap. You know, little wooden puppets running around. That shit just creeps me out, okay? You know, little puppets and lederhosen. You're just like, ugh. You know, I'm sleeping with the lights on tonight. But anyway, you know, that's the movie, The Head, starring Karen Konecki here on the Angry Brothers Omaha Shaka-Rama. Now, next week, we're bringing you another great feature. And this one is, you know, we hope will be a little better, but, you know, it's like I ain't going to hold my breath. You know, I haven't watched it yet, but you know what? It's got Dennis Hopper in it, so that's a big saving grace right there. And there's a cameo in it by the legendary elder statesman and guru of horror and the macabre and film monsters, kaiju, the whole the whole enchilada, the whole 9 yards. Forrest J. Ackerman has a small part, nay, even a cameo in this film, and we're going to see if you can spot him. And the film is from it's from 1966. It's called The Queen of Blood, and we're bringing you the full, hold on, rented lips, you know, it's like, this is what happens when you buy your booze from somebody's trunk over in Council Bluffs. You know, it's like, at least nobody's gone blind or insane yet, but, you know, we're not holding out much hope, you know. Brother James might come staggering through here, I'm blind, I'm blind, I'm blind. Then we'll have to shoot him, you know. Gotta put him down, put him out of his misery. Sorry, Mom, had to do it. But anyway, the film is Queen of Blood, starring Dennis Hopper, Victoria Marley, and John Saxon and Forrest J. Ackerman in a bit part. Next week, here on the Angry Brothers Omaha Rama. So with that being said, I'm going to leave you with these words. Always remember, friends and faithful followers and fans, let's keep America on top. Watch Horror Host, y'all. Good night and unpleasant dreams.